It arrived with the promise of something Jade hadn't experienced in weeks, a normal evening out with friends. Melissa had been texting all day about hitting up their favorite dive bar in downtown Frederick, insisting that Jade needed to rejoin the land of the living after her week of playing house with the hot Romanian guy. If only Melissa knew. Jade stood in front of her closet, trying to decide between responsible adult who has a vampire in her basement and 20-year-old who just wants to have a few drinks with her friends. She settled on dark jeans and a fitted burgundy top that made her red curls look particularly vibrant. "You are going out." Victor's voice came from her doorway. Not a question, but a statement. Jade turned to find him leaning against the frame, arms crossed, looking like a bouncer at the world's most exclusive nightclub. He'd gotten better at modern clothes over the past day. Tonight, he wore dark jeans and a black Henley that did absolutely unfair things to his physique. Just to a bar with Melissa, girls' night, nothing crazy. Jade applied mascara in her mirror, very aware of his eyes on her. "You'll be okay here by yourself for a few hours, right?" "I will manage, though I dislike the idea of you venturing out without protection. It's Frederick, Maryland, not a war zone. I'll be fine." Victor's expression suggested he disagreed, but was choosing not to argue. What is a bar? A place where people gather to drink alcohol and socialize. Music, dancing, conversations. Very normal human activity. Taverns. We had those in my time. They were often sites of violence and debauchery. Well, yeah, bars can get rowdy, but mostly it's just people having fun. Melissa and I have been going to this place for months. It's safe. Victor moved into the room, his presence immediately filling the space. Never led, I would feel more at ease if I accompanied you. Jade paused mid-mascara application. "You want to come to a bar with me? I want to ensure your safety. If that requires experiencing this tavern, then so be it." "Victor, you can't just show up at my girls' night. Melissa will think it's weird. Plus, bars are loud and crowded and full of drunk people. You'll hate it." "I have endured far worse than inebriated humans. Allow me to accompany you, Jade. I will remain unobtrusive." She turned to face him fully. "You're 6'3" and look like you could kill someone with your pinky finger. You don't do unobtrusive." "Then I will remain nearby, watchful. You need not acknowledge my presence, but I will be there should any threat arise." Jade felt something warm unfold in her chest. Overprotective? Absolutely. Old-fashioned? Definitely. But also kind of sweet in a terrifying vampire warlord way. "Fine. You can come, but you have to promise to at least try to blend in. No threatening people, no vampire super speed, and definitely no killing anyone. Your rules remain unnecessarily restrictive." "My rules keep you out of prison. Take them or leave them." Victor inclined his head in that regal way of his. "I accept your terms." 20 minutes later, they pulled up outside the Singing Cat, Frederick's studious dive bar and Jade's favorite place to spend Friday nights. The neon sign flickered erratically, casting pink and blue light across the parking lot. Bass thumped from inside, some pop song Jade vaguely recognized. Melissa was waiting by the entrance, dressed in a crop top and high-waisted jeans, her dark hair in perfect waves. Her eyes went wide when she saw Victor emerge from Jade's car. "Oh, hell no," Melissa said as they approached. "This is girls' night. No boys allowed, especially not stupidly attractive foreign boys who already monopolize all of your time." "He's just here as a precaution," Jade said. "He'll stay out of our way." "A precaution against what? Frederick's dangerous population of drunk college kids and middle-aged bikers?" Victor spoke before Jade could respond. "I merely wish to ensure Jade's safety. I will not interfere with your evening." Melissa looked between them, her expression shifting from annoyed to intrigued. "Okay, that accent is unfairly hot, and the protective thing would be sweet if it wasn't also kind of cavemanish. Fine, he can come. But you," she pointed at Victor, "sit at a different table. This is girl talk time." "I understand. I'll be nearby but separate." "Good. Now let's get drinks before I die first." Inside, the Singing Cat was exactly as Jade remembered. Sticky floors, questionable lighting, the jukebox playing too loud, and a crowd of locals ranging from college students to bikers to random townies looking for cheap beer. It smelled like spilled alcohol, fried food, and bad decisions. It was perfect. Melissa immediately dragged Jade to their usual table near the back, while Victor positioned himself at the bar with a clear sightline to them. He looked profoundly out of place among the casual chaos, sitting with perfect posture, his eyes constantly scanning the room like he was calculating threat assessments. "Okay, spill," Melissa said the moment they sat down. "What is actually going on with you and the Romanian god? And don't give me that foreign exchange student bullshit. Nobody looks at someone the way he looks at you unless there's something happening." Jade felt her face heat. "It's complicated. It's always complicated. That's what makes it interesting. Are you sleeping with him?" "No, Melissa. Oh my god." "But you want to. I can tell. You get this look whenever he's around, like you're mentally undressing him." "I do not have a look." "You absolutely have a look. It's the same look you get when you watch Underworld, except now it's directed at a real person who's living in your basement, which, by the way, is either the start of a romance novel or a true crime documentary. I haven't decided which." The waitress appeared before Jade could defend herself. They ordered their usual vodka cranberries for Melissa, a beer for Jade. The waitress eyed Victor at the bar with obvious interest, but he didn't even glance her direction, his attention fixed on Jade. "He hasn't looked away from you once," Melissa observed. "That's either adorable or stalkerish." "He's protective." "Protective is one thing. That's full-on guardian angel intensity. What happened to make him so worried about you?" "Nothing happened. He's just from a different time and place where things were more dangerous. He's not used to modern safety standards." "A different time and place. Right. Romania." Melissa's tone made it clear she wasn't buying it. "Jade, I love you, but you're a terrible liar. Just tell me the truth. Who is he really?" Jade took a long drink of her beer when it arrived, buying time. What could she say? "He's a fictional vampire warlord who became real and is bound to me by blood magic." Yeah, that would go over great. "He's someone I care about who's going through a complicated situation. That's all I can really say right now." Melissa studied her face, then sighed. "Fine, keep your mysterious secrets. But if he turns out to be an axe murderer, I'm saying I told you so at your funeral." Noted. They fell into easy conversation after that, catching up on school gossip and Melissa's ongoing drama with her on-again, off-again boyfriend. Jade found herself relaxing, the normalcy of it soothing after the insanity of the past few days. This was her life: bad beer, good friends, mediocre music from the jukebox. She glanced over at Victor periodically. He hadn't moved from his position at the bar, though he attracted a small crowd of women attempting to chat him up. He was polite but distant with each of them, his attention always returning to Jade. He's got every woman in this bar trying to get his number, and he's only looking at you, Melissa said, following her gaze. That's actually kind of romantic, in an intense, possibly unhealthy way. Welcome to my life. An hour passed, then two. The bar got more crowded, the music louder, the atmosphere more chaotic. Jade was on her third beer, feeling pleasantly buzzed, laughing at one of Melissa's stories about her anatomy professor when she felt it. That tug, the mental connection between her and Victor, suddenly sharp and urgent. She looked toward the bar and found Victor standing, his body language completely changed. Gone was the careful neutrality. Now he looked like what he was, a predator who'd spotted prey. Jade followed his gaze and felt her stomach drop. 3 men had entered the bar, and they were looking directly at her, not casual glances, predatory stares, the kind of attention that made the hair on the back of her neck stand up. Friends of yours? Melissa asked, noticing Jade's tension. Never seen them before. The men were in their late 20s, dressed in the kind of aggressive casual that screamed trouble. Leather jackets, multiple tattoos, the swagger of guys who were used to intimidating people. They moved through the crowd toward Jade and Melissa's table with clear intent, trying to flip paces and declare intent. Victor was already moving, cutting through the crowd with fluid grace, positioning himself between the approaching men and Jade. It was so smooth that most people didn't even notice, but Jade saw the calculation in every step. Ladies, the tallest of the 3 men said when they reached the table, ignoring Victor's presence entirely. You look like you could use some company. This table's too pretty to be all by yourselves. We're good, thanks, Melissa said sharply. We're having a private conversation. Don't be like that. We're just being friendly. His eyes raked over Jade in a way that made her skin crawl. Especially you, Red. I like the hair. Bet you're a firecracker. She said they're not interested. Victor's voice cut through the noise like a blade. I suggest you move along. The tall man finally looked at Victor, and Jade saw the moment he sized him up and decided to escalate anyway. Drunk courage or genuine stupidity, she couldn't tell. And who the hell are you? Her bodyguard? Something like that. Well, bodyguard, why don't you fuck off back to whatever European country you crawled out of and let the ladies decide for themselves if they want company? Jade felt the connection between her and Victor flare hot. She could sense his restraint, the iron control he was exerting over impulses that screamed for violence. 800 years of warrior instinct were being held back by sheer force of will, and her early rules about not killing anyone. We're leaving, Jade said quickly, standing up and grabbing Melissa's arm. Come on. You're not going anywhere, another of the men said, moving to block their path. We just got here. Stay and have a drink with us. The ladies wish to leave, Victor said, his voice dropping to something dark and dangerous. You will not prevent them. Or what? You'll do something about it. It happened fast. The tall man reached for Jade's arm, presumably to pull her back down into her seat. Victor moved before the touch could land. One moment he was standing still, the next his hand was locked around the man's wrist with enough force that Jade heard bones creak. Do not, Victor said quietly, touch her. The man tried to pull away, couldn't, and threw a punch with his free hand. Victor caught that too, holding both of the guy's arms immobile while barely seeming to exert effort. You're making a mistake, Victor continued in that same deadly calm voice. You have 3 seconds to apologize to the ladies and leave this establishment. 1. Fuck you, men, the guy snarled, trying and failing to break Victor's grip. 2. His friends moved in, clearly planning to make it a group effort. Jade's heart raced. This was going to turn into a brawl. The police would be called, Victor would be exposed as something far more than human. But Victor didn't give them the chance. On 3, he released the tall man's wrists and moved. Jade had seen vampire speed in movies, but seeing it in real life was different. He was a blur, taking down all 3 men in seconds with brutal efficiency. No flashy moves, no dramatic flourishes. Just economical violence that left all 3 men on the ground, groaning, before most of the bar even realized a fight had started. Victor straightened, not even breathing hard, and looked at Jade. His eyes were blazing with something primal and fierce, the civilized veneer completely stripped away. This was the warrior, the warlord, the vampire who had survived 8 centuries through strength and savagery. And God help her, it was the hottest thing Jade had ever seen. The bar had gone quiet, everyone staring at the 3 men on the ground and the dangerous stranger who put them there. The bartender was reaching for the phone, probably to call the cops. We need to go, Jade said, her voice breathier than she intended. Now. Victor nodded once and took her hand, his grip possessive and protective. Melissa grabbed her purse and followed, her eyes wide with shock. They made it to the parking lot before anyone could stop them. Jade's hands were shaking as she dug for her keys, adrenaline flooding her system. Holy shit, Melissa breathed. What the fuck was that? How did he move like that? Those guys were huge, and he just... Melissa, I need you to go home, Jade said, her mind racing. I'll explain everything later, I promise, but right now, I need to get Victor out of here before someone calls the cops. Jade? Please, trust me. I'll text you tomorrow. Melissa looked between them, clearly wanting to argue, that something in Jade's expression must have convinced her. Fine. But you better have a damn good explanation. And you, she pointed at Victor, are the most terrifying person I've ever met. I don't know if I should thank you or run screaming. Running would be wise, Victor said flatly. Melissa left, and Jade turned to Victor. He was standing perfectly still, his eyes still blazing with that primal intensity, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. Get in the car, Jade said. They drove in silence, the tension so thick Jade could barely breathe. She could feel Victor's barely contained violence, the predator that had been unleashed and was fighting to be caged again. Her hands gripped the steering wheel, her heart pounding, her body singing with adrenaline and something else. Desire. She should be scared. She'd just watched Victor casually dismantle 3 grown men like they were nothing. She'd seen the monster beneath the man, the killer that lurked under the surface. Instead, she felt safe, protected, and unbearably turned on. They made it home in record time. Jade's mom's car wasn't in the driveway, another double shift at the hospital. They had their house to themselves. Jade barely got the front door closed before Victor was on her. He backed her against the wall, his hands on either side of her head, caging her in. His eyes were still wild, still dangerous. I nearly killed him, he said, his voice rough, for touching you, for looking at you that way. I wanted to tear them apart. But you didn't, Jade whispered, her hands coming up to his chest. You controlled it. Barely. Jade, you do not understand how difficult it was to restrain myself. The rage, the need to protect you, it was overwhelming. It still is. You are mine to protect, and they threatened you. I'm yours? The words came out as a challenge. Victor's eyes locked with hers. Yes, mine. I know I should not claim you, should not feel this possessive fury, but I cannot help it. You are mine, Jade. Say you understand. She should argue, should point out that she wasn't property, wasn't anyone's possession, but the raw need in his voice, the desperate intensity in his eyes, the way his whole body was trembling with restrained violence and desire, it undid her. I understand, she breathed. And Victor? You're mine too. Something snapped. Victor's mouth crashed down on hers, and this kiss was nothing like their gentle exploration from before. This was claiming, consuming, fierce with need. His hands moved to her waist, lifting her effortlessly, and Jade wrapped her legs around him on instinct. He carried her like she weighed nothing, his lips never leaving hers, moving through the house with that supernatural awareness of his surroundings. They made it to her bedroom, and he laid her on the bed with surprising gentleness despite the urgency radiating from him. Tell me to stop, Victor said, pulling back to look at her. Tell me this is too fast, that you need time. Tell me, and I'll stop. Jade looked up at him, this ancient, powerful being who was giving her the choice despite his obvious desperation, and made her decision. Don't stop, she said. Don't you dare stop. Victor groaned, the sound of pure need, and kissed her again. His hands moved to her top, and Jade helped him remove it, suddenly not caring about modesty or propriety or any of the reasons this might be a terrible idea. She wanted this, wanted him, had wanted him since she was 15 years old, watching him on a screen, and now he was real and here, and his hands were on her skin, and it was better than any fantasy. You are so warm, Victor murmured against her neck, his lips tracing her pulse point. So alive. I can feel your heartbeat, hear your blood singing in your veins. That should have been creepy. Instead, it sent a shiver of desire through her. Is that a vampire thing? She managed to ask. Everything about you calls to me. Your scent, your warmth, your spirit. I have never experienced anything like it. His hands moved to the button of her jeans. May I? Yes. God, yes. He removed her jeans with efficient grace, and then his own clothes followed. Jade got her first full view of Victor's body and felt her breath catch. He was magnificent, pale skin, defined muscle, centuries of warrior training evident in every line, and other things that made her face flush and her body respond with immediate want. You are staring, Victor said, a hint of amusement in his voice. You're worth staring at. He moved back over her, settling between her legs, and Jade felt the coolness of his body against her warmth. It should have been wrong, but instead it felt perfect, complimentary. Victor's hands moved over her with surprising reverence, exploring, learning. When he reached the clasp of her bra, he paused. I have not done this in many years, he admitted. The mechanics of modern undergarments elude me. Jade laughed breathlessly, and reached back to help him. It's a hook clasp, just pinch and pull. Unnecessarily complicated. Welcome to modern fashion. Her bra joined the growing pile of clothes on the floor, and Victor stared at her like she was something precious and rare. Beautiful, he murmured. You're so beautiful, little flame. His mouth moved to her breast, and Jade gasped at the sensation. Cool lips, clever tongue, the slight press of teeth that sent sparks straight through her. His hand moved to her remaining piece of clothing, and Jade lifted her hips to help him remove it. Now she was completely bare before him, vulnerable and exposed. Victor pulled back to look at her, his ice blue eyes dark with desire. Perfect, he said. You are perfect. His hand moved between her legs, exploring, and Jade couldn't suppress the moan that escaped her. He was skilled, ancient experience evident in every touch, reading her body's responses and adjusting accordingly. Victor, she gasped. Please. Please what? I need you. All of you. Now. He positioned himself at her entrance, his eyes locking with hers. This will bind us, Jade, in ways beyond the physical. Are you certain? I've never been more certain of anything. Victor began to push inside, and Jade felt the stretch, the pressure. It was intense, almost too much. Victor froze, his eyes widened. Jade, you are... a virgin, yeah. Surprise? He pulled back slightly, his expression shifting to concern. You should have told me. I would have been more gentle. We could have... I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to treat me differently. I'm 20 years old, Victor. I'm not made of glass. I want this. I want you. Please don't stop now. He looked torn, the predator warring with the protector. I will hurt you. Then hurt me. I can take it. Something in his eyes shifted. You are certain? Yes. Victor kissed her deeply, and as he did, he pushed forward. Jade felt the sharp pain, the breaking of that barrier, and gasped against his mouth. He swallowed the sound, holding still once he was fully inside, giving her time to adjust. Breathe, he murmured against her lips. Just breathe, little flame. The pain will pass. Jade did as he instructed, breathing through the discomfort. Slowly, the pain began to fade, replaced by a different sensation. Fullness, connection, rightness. Okay, she whispered. I'm okay, you can move. Victor did, carefully at first, watching her face for any sign of distress. But Jade was past discomfort now, moving into something else entirely. Pleasure began to build, spiraling through her with each movement. More, she demanded. Victor, I need more. He groaned and picked up the pace, the restraint falling away. This was what she wanted, not careful, gentle lovemaking, but raw passion and need. The vampire and the warrior taking what was offered, claiming her as thoroughly as she was claiming him. The connection between them flared bright, and suddenly Jade could feel everything he was feeling. His pleasure, his possessive need, his desperate desire to make her feel good. It was overwhelming, and perfect, and too much, and not enough, all at once. I can feel you, she gasped. Victor, I can feel what you're feeling. As I feel you, your pleasure, your need, Jade, you are undoing me. His pace increased, harder and rougher, and Jade met him thrust for thrust. She'd expected her first time to be awkward, painful, something to get through. Instead, it was fierce and consuming, her body responding to him like it had been made for this purpose. The pleasure built higher, tighter, until Jade thought she might break from the intensity of it. Victor's hand moved between them, finding that perfect spot, and that was all it took. Jade came apart, pleasure exploding through her in waves. She heard herself cry out, felt Victor follow her over the edge, moments later, his body going rigid as he groaned her name. They collapsed together, breathing hard, their bodies still connected. Jade felt tears on her cheeks and realized she was crying, overwhelmed by the intensity of what they just shared. Jade? Victor's voice was concerned, gentle. Did I hurt you? No, No, she couldn't find words adequate enough. That was everything. He pulled her close, rolling so she was draped across his chest, his cool skin soothing against her overheated body. You gave me your innocence. That is a gift I do not take lightly. I gave you my trust. That's a bigger gift. Victor's arms tightened around her. Indeed it is, and I will prove myself worthy of it every day. They lay in comfortable silence for a while, Jade's fingers tracing idle patterns on his chest. She could still feel the mental connection between them, softer now, but ever present. I felt your fangs, she said quietly. When you were near the end, I felt them, against my neck. You wanted to bite me. Victor tensed. I apologize. The bloodlust, combined with, it was difficult to control, but I would never take from you without permission. I would have let you. That makes it even more important that I restrain myself. Your blood already gives me so much, Jade. I will not take more unless you explicitly consent, understanding all the implications. Jade propped herself up on one elbow to look at him. What implications? A vampire's bite during intimacy creates a powerful bond, more intense than what we already share. It would link us on a level that would be difficult to break. I will not trap you in such a binding without your full understanding of what it means. You're protecting me from yourself. I am protecting you from my nature. There is a difference. Jade leaned down and kissed him softly. You're a good man, Victor. Or vampire, whatever. You're good. I am many things, but good is not a word I would use. Then you're using the wrong words. She settled back against his chest, exhaustion from the evening finally catching up with her. Victor's hands stroked through her curly hair, gentle and soothing. Sleep, little flame. I will watch over you. Will you be here when I wake up? Wild horses could not drag me away. We don't really use horses anymore. Maybe wild cars? Victor's chest rumbled with quiet laughter. Sleep, Jade. She did, falling into dreams of ice blue eyes and cool hands and a love that crossed centuries and worlds. When she woke hours later, Victor was still there, exactly as he promised, watching her with an expression so tender it made her heart ache. Morning, she mumbled sleepily. Good morning. How do you feel? Jade took stock, sore, definitely, satisfied, a little overwhelmed, but also happy in a way she hadn't been in a long time. I feel perfect. How are you? Concerned that I was too rough, grateful that you trusted me, deeply satisfied, and somewhat terrified of the intensity of my feelings for you. Jade smiled. That's a lot of emotions for someone who's supposed to be an emotionless vampire. You bring out parts of me I thought long dead. It is disconcerting. Good disconcerting or bad disconcerting? Victor pulled her closer, kissing her forehead. Good. Definitely good. They stayed in bed for a while longer, talking quietly, trading lazy kisses, learning each other in this new context. Eventually, reality intruded in the form of Jade's phone buzzing with increasingly frantic texts from Melissa demanding an explanation for last night. I need to deal with that, Jade sighed. She's not going to let this go. What will you tell her? I have no idea. The truth is insane, but lying to my best friend feels wrong. Victor considered this. Perhaps a version of the truth. I am not from Romania. I am from another place, another time. The specifics can remain vague. And the superhuman speed and strength? Training. Genetics. European privacy laws prevent me from discussing the details. Jade laughed. That's the worst cover story I've ever heard. Yet it is technically true. You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. I'm adaptable. Jade's phone rang, Melissa's name flashing on the screen. She sighed and answered. Before you say anything, she started. I can explain. You better explain. What the hell happened last night? Who is that guy? And don't give me the exchange student bullshit, because I've met exchange students and none of them fight like they're auditioning for a John Wick movie. It's complicated. It's always complicated with you lately. Just tell me the truth, Jade. I'm your best friend. Are you in danger? Is he dangerous? Jade looked at Victor, who was watching her with patient curiosity. He's not dangerous to me. He was protecting me. Those guys were gonna hurt us, and he stopped them. That's all. That's all? Jade, he moved like, I don't even know what. Like he wasn't human. And the way he looked at those guys, like he wanted to kill them. That's not normal. I know, but I trust him. He would never hurt me. Melissa was quiet for a moment. You're sleeping with him, aren't you? Jade's face went crimson. We're not. Oh my god, you are. I can hear your voice. When did this happen? Last night? Please tell me you at least made him get tested first. Do they have different STDs in Romania? Melissa. I'm just saying, safe sex is important even with hot, mysterious foreigners who can fight like superheroes. Victor was definitely smirking now, clearly hearing both sides of the conversation with his vampire hearing. Jade threw a pillow at him. I'm hanging up now, Jade said firmly. I'll call you later, we can talk properly. But right now, I need coffee and food and maybe a shower. Fine. But this conversation isn't over. I have so many questions. Don't Jade? Yeah? Be careful. I don't know what's going on with you two, but it feels big. Just don't lose yourself in it, okay? I won't. I promise. Jade hung up and flopped back on the bed. Well, that was mortifying. Your friend cares about you. It is admirable. My friend thinks I'm having a torrid affair with a Romanian superhero. She's not entirely wrong, which is the worst part. Victor pulled her close. For what it's worth, I am honored to be your torrid affair. You're terrible. I am many things. They eventually made it out of bed, Jade moving gingerly, Victor hovering with concern until she swatted him away. She took a long shower, Victor joining her halfway through, which led to another round of activities that left her even more sore, but extremely satisfied. By the time they made it downstairs, it was past noon. Jade made coffee while Victor examined the refrigerator contents with his usual amusement. I wish I could share this morning meal with you, he said. The ritual of it. The intimacy. Jade paused in pouring her coffee. You really can't eat anything? Not even a little? Food is ash in my mouth. It provides no sustenance, no pleasure. It is one of the curses of vampirism. That's incredibly sad. Food is one of life's great joys. I remember it faintly. The taste of bread, of meat, of fruit fresh from the tree, but it has been so long that the memories have faded to nearly nothing. An idea struck Jade. What if my blood changed that too? Like how it let you walk in the sun? Victor turned to her, his expression skeptical. I do not see how. Just try. One bite of something, anything, see if it's different now. Jade. Please? For me? He couldn't resist that. She was lying. Victor sighed and opened the refrigerator, selecting an apple from the fruit drawer. He examined it like it might explode and took a small, cautious bite. Jade watched his face, hoping for some reaction. At first, there was nothing. Then his eyes widened. He chewed slowly, his expression shifting from skeptical to shocked. "I can taste it," he whispered. "It is faint, muted, but I can taste it. The sweetness, the tartness. Jade, I can taste it." Joy flooded through her, so intense it brought tears to her eyes. "Really? You can really taste it?" Victor took another bite, and this time he closed his eyes, savoring it. 800 years. 800 years since I tasted an apple. I had forgotten how wonderful something so simple could be. Jade launched herself at him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "This is amazing. Do you know what this means? You can eat again. You can experience food. Because of you. Because your blood has changed me in ways I cannot begin to understand." He set down the apple and cupped her face. "You have given me the sun. You have given me taste. What will you give me next, little flame? My soul?" "You already have that. Vampires have souls, what everyone says. You couldn't care about things the way you do if you didn't have a soul." Victor kissed her, soft and sweet, tasting the apple. "You see good in me that I'm not certain exists. Then I'll keep looking until you believe it too." They spent the afternoon in comfortable domesticity. Jade made grilled cheese sandwiches, and Victor tried one, amazed at his ability to taste the butter, the cheese, the bread. It wasn't as intense as human taste, he explained, but it was there, real, present. "This is extraordinary," he said, taking another bite. "I never thought I would experience this again." "What was your favorite food before you returned?" Victor thought for a moment. Roasted venison with herbs, fresh bread with honey, wine from our own vineyards. Simple fare, but prepared well. I remember a feast for my daughter's birthday, the year before everything changed. There was music and dancing, and more food than we could possibly eat. She laughed so much that night. His expression clouded with old grief, and Jade took his hand. "Tell me about her, your daughter, if you want to." Victor was quiet for a long moment. Her name was Sonia. She was fierce and beautiful and stubborn beyond measure. She looked like her mother, but had my spirit, my determination. He smiled sadly. "She fell in love with a lichen, a forbidden union. I was so angry, so blinded by pride and prejudice. I could not see that she had found genuine love. I could only see the breaking of our laws." "What happened?" "I had her executed, her and her lover, both. I sentenced my own daughter to death because I was too rigid to bend, too proud to forgive." The pain in his voice was raw, 800 years old, but still fresh. "It is my greatest shame, my greatest regret. I've spent centuries trying to atone for that decision, but nothing can bring her back." Jade felt tears streaming down her face. "Victor, I'm so sorry." "As am I, every day, every moment. I tell you this not for sympathy, but so you understand what I'm capable of. The cruelty, the rigidity. I am not a good man, Jade. I have made unforgivable choices." "Everyone makes mistakes, even terrible ones. It doesn't mean you can't change, can't become better. Can I? Or am I simply the same monster in a different century?" Jade moved to stand in front of him, taking his face in her hands. "You're not a monster. You're someone who made a terrible mistake and has been punishing himself for it for 800 years. Maybe it's time to forgive yourself, to try to be the person Sonia would have wanted you to become." Victor's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I do not know if I can." "Then let me help you. Let me show you that you're capable of more than violence and regret. You saved me last night. You protected me. That's not the action of a monster. It was instinct. It was love." The word hung between them, heavy with implication. Jade hadn't meant to say it, but now that it was out there, she realized it was true. Insane, impossible, far too soon, but true nonetheless. "Jade, I'm not asking you to say it back. I'm just telling you what I feel. What I've been feeling since you appeared in my room. Maybe it's the bond, maybe it's fate, maybe it's just me being young and stupid, but it's real, and you deserve to know." Victor pulled her close, holding her like she was the most precious thing in the world. "I have lived for 8 centuries. I have commanded armies, ruled territories, survived countless battles, but I've never encountered anything as terrifying as what I feel for you. It is too much, too intense, too consuming, and yet I cannot resist it." "Then don't. Stop fighting it. Stop fighting us." "I am afraid." The admission from someone as powerful as Victor was heartbreaking. Jade held him tighter. "Me too, but we'll figure it out together." They stood like that for a long time, holding each other in Jade's kitchen, the afternoon sun streaming through the windows. A vampire who could walk in daylight and a human woman had given him that gift. 2 souls bound by forces neither of them understood, choosing each other despite every reason not to. Eventually, Victor pulled back and smiled. "So, what other modern experiences shall you introduce me to today? I believe we have established that I can fight, make love, and eat grilled cheese. What is next on the curriculum?" Jade laughed through her tears. "How about we start with something simple, like teaching you how to use the TV remote without accidentally changing all the settings to Spanish?" That happened once. It happened 3 times yesterday. The device is needlessly complicated. The device is a basic remote control. Come on, Professor Anderson's Modern Life 101 is back in session. They spent the rest of the day in comfortable companionship. Jade taught Victor the finer points of streaming services, social media, and online shopping. He remained baffled by most of it, but seemed to enjoy the learning process, especially when it involved her patient explanations and occasional exasperation. As evening approached, they found themselves back on the couch. Jade curled against Victor's side, some mindless show playing on the TV. It felt domestic, normal, like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. "Jade," Victor said quietly, "what happens now?" "What do you mean?" "With us, with my presence in your world. I cannot hide in your basement indefinitely. Your mother already suspects something unusual is occurring. Eventually, there will be questions we cannot answer." Jade had been trying not to think about that. "I don't know. We take it one day at a time, I guess. Figure things out as we go. And if I cannot return to my world, if I'm trapped here permanently, would that be so bad?" Victor looked at her seriously. "I do not know. My responsibilities, my coven, Marcus and Amelia, they need me. The war with the Lycans does not pause simply because I have vanished. Without me, the balance of power shifts. People will die. But they're not real. Not here. In this world, they're just characters in a movie. They're real in my world, and I do not know if my being here means I have abandoned them, or if time functions differently between our realities. I could return to find that centuries have passed, or mere moments. There is no way to know." The weight of it settled over them. This wasn't just a romantic adventure. Victor's displacement had consequences, implications neither of them had fully considered. He wasn't just her vampire boyfriend. He was a leader, a warrior, someone with responsibilities that stretched across centuries. We'll figure it out, Jade said, trying to sound more confident than she felt. Maybe there's a way to travel between worlds. Maybe we can find a way to help you fulfill your responsibilities and still be together. Perhaps. Or perhaps I am meant to remain here to finally find peace after 800 years of war. He stroked her hair gently. I do not have answers, Little Flame. Only questions and an increasing reluctance to leave you. Then stay. For as long as you can, as long as you want. Stay. I will. For you, I will stay. They fell into silence, both lost in thought about impossible futures and uncertain presents. But for now, in this moment, they had each other. And maybe that was enough. The vampire and the girl, bound by blood and fate and a love that shouldn't exist, but did anyway. It was complicated and messy and impossible. But it was also real. And for Jade, that made it worth fighting for. End of episode 4.